Respected Principal, Wisby College of Education, and my dear friends, I would like to present a research paper on a dipstick into India's preparedness for digitization in education, which has also been co-authored by my guide Dr. Sybil Thomas Mapp. And together we would like to present our views for the theme Evolving Trends and New Pedagogic Paradigm in Education. The agenda that I propose to cover is as follows. To start with, I will take you through the introduction. This will be followed by the referenced models which has been used and the amalgamation of them to arrive at our interpretation. A short description on the timeline of review of related literature done for the study. We'll then go through the research study and its objective. We'll analyze the results. We'll then see what the recommendations are to enable us to reach our targeted goals. And finally, we will conclude. To start with the introduction, I wish to tell you that the Digital India program, which was initiated by the Government of India, was way back in the year 2015. Through this program, government has sought an enabling role by building digital infrastructure and supporting ecosystem, ensuring accessibility of technology for all. Digitization has penetrated all sectors in all possible fields, and education is no exception. And stakeholders, whoever it may be, whether a teacher, a student, a content provider, we all need to be digitally prepared and responsible for our roles. India is making a shift towards a knowledge-based society, and this is in line with the advanced countries of the world. However, the rate of adoption will depend on how knowledgeable Gen Next gets digitally. Creativity and innovation is the key. Classrooms need to be collaborative, and with this context, I must state that the government of Andhra Pradesh has come up with new classroom design for government schools, and it is really applaudable. Teachers and students need to share a symbiotic relationship. New digital pedagogic practices are required. We cannot rely on the traditional one we have used so far, and all this is required to make education through digital means holistic and all-encompassing. Teachers on their side needs to constantly upskill their digital competence, and they should get familiar with emerging technologies. And if this is done effectively, there is no doubt left that we can bridge the digital divide. All of us are aware of the COVID-19 pandemic and what the whole world has gone through, and India is, of course, no exception. While people are complaining about the virus and its impact on the economy and its impact on the life, I see it as an opportunity in disguise. This particular pandemic necessitated a digital transformation in education pedagogy. Virtual classroom is now a new normal. Further advanced ICT techniques like augmented reality and virtual reality can be used about to bring a social change by development in remote rural areas through advanced educational practices. We need to capitalize on this opportunity, and the momentum brought about by this COVID-19 pandemic needs to be sustained so that India evolves towards a digital nation. Reference models in this research are three, and they are indicated here: the Bloom's digital taxonomy, the SAMR model, and the digital COM, which is also known as the European Digital Competence Framework. The illustration which you see to the left is the amalgamation of all the three models. This amalgamation can be interpreted as today's teachers required to upskill themselves with varied competencies. Here, the DigiCom preference model has been used, and this will act as an enabler to utilize technological tools. Here, we can take the help of the SAMR model, and this can be used to provide guided instructions which can directly appeal to different cognitive levels as shown in Bloom's digital taxonomy of the learners. We all are familiar with these three models, and they are commonly used in our education sector, and this leads to an overlearning experience and environment. When we look at the PSTs, that is the pre-service teachers education, I think it is the base phase to make an assessment and a course correction towards digitization. Why? Because PSTs will soon be certified teachers, and most of them belong to younger generation and can adapt to an ever-changing digitized world. Therefore, teaching pedagogy and use of technology are connected and are related, and this combination positively influences student learning. And for the review-related literature, following were the gaps highlighted. That is, through this literatures and policies reviewed as indicated in the figure First is with respect to the usage of technology, the gap was clearly highlighted. Second is we all know that teaching learning process is evolving to be learner-centric. Teacher education needs to keep pace with emerging trends and technologies. The question arising here is, are our teachers digitally literate? Can they implement technology-based instructions? Can they create digital citizens ready for the 21st century? Do PSTs have the digital expertise to cater to the academic needs of the students? And therefore, to answer these questions, we need to move out of our comfort zone of traditional teaching and test new technological approaches. And hence, it was felt that an in-depth analysis of digital literacy and use of ICT for teaching and learning was required. And this was the purpose and the need of the research study carried out. The research study was carried out across 15 B.Ed colleges in Mumbai region. And in all, there were 500 respondents. And it was carried out during the early half of the 2020. Research objectives were first, to gain the primary insights of the PST's digital literacy levels across 5 dimensions. Secondly, to determine if a multimedia environment exists in teacher training institutes. Testing instrument was administered to a select group of PSTs to check for its reliability and validity. Now I'll summarize and analyze the results in part. First, let us look at the use of ICT in teaching and learning. When we look at the usage of digital devices, what we found was the user was very familiar with the use of smartphones and laptops. There is moderate use of PC. Usage of tabs and Kindles is extremely low. Coming to the peripheral devices, the PSTs are familiar with the use of smartboards, CDs, pen drives, and this you can see the highlighted blue bars, which are high in number. They act as an enabler for using multimedia during lesson delivery, resulting in an effective output. PSTs need to enhance their competence in handling different models of printers and scanners. Further, as shown in the figure here, 17% PSTs need to be trained in the usage of projectors, as it will enable digitization of instructional delivery. When we look at the use of ICT in an online and offline mode, majority of the PSTs have good knowledge of ICT. Some, of course, are uncertain. As seen in the middle bars here, they have 50-50 knowledge. However, those who do not have any knowledge have an upbuilt task at hand. They need to get digitally ready. The final results looked at basic and advanced digital literacy. Here, as I said, there are 5 dimensions. Let's look at them one by one. When we take information processing, 6.1% cannot assess reliability, validity of information. Skill sets to be upgraded, else they'll be ineffective in a digitized world. Coming to the communication, 13.68% are weak in digital collaboration. They do not know to use Zoom, Google Meet, which help us collaborate and communicate with each other. We all know that there were immense benefits realized during COVID-19 pandemics. Coming to the content creation, both multimedia and PowerPoint help simplify complex diagrams. They help provide excellent representation. And this classic case of SAMR model, which actually talks about substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition in the classroom. Coming to the safety, 17.94% need to understand protection mechanism. They do not know the basic things like antivirus. They lack higher order thinking skills, and they should use social media responsibly. We come to the last dimension, that is the ethics. PSTs need to be familiar with cyberbullying and invasion of privacy. They should be responsible users, that is, they should neither be victims nor perpetrators. An improvement in the digital competence will enable PSTs to leverage the benefits of digitization. COVID-19 is an example. So when I come to the recommendation or the suggested action points, the first one I would like to state that there is a link between the use of smart boards for teaching, content creation, and use of multimedia projector. Area of improvement, that is multimedia as well as the smart boards as seen in the results. Specialized IT training can be imparted. PSTs can start digitized way of teaching right from day one. Secondly, the PSTs enhancing their competence in the use of peripheral devices. This, of course, will help them deliver multimedia education. Our suggestion is laptops should be provided to educators at the time of joining. Failure to make effective use should invite penalties. Colleges should conduct IT refresher course in both safety and ethics. 100% compliance should be there without exceptions. The score seen in the results should be improved to 100% as we cannot compromise in this area. Digitally literate educators should be rewarded so that the remaining staff can be motivated to achieve this milestone. College management should allocate a separate budget for digitization, and the progress of implementation should be tracked year by year. Wi-Fi services should be made available free of cost, and all new acquisition by the library should only be e-books. On their part, educators need to shed inhibitions and should work towards establishing a digital society. They should leverage technology, fine-tune it to use it for desired application. Continuity in the digital trend set by COVID-19 pandemic needs to be maintained. Technology innovation should be made use of to make education delivery efficient, productive. Finally, I come to my conclusion slide. So I wish to state that digitization cannot be selective, cannot be restricted only to urban areas because majority of India's population resides in villages. So government's digital infra, for example, BharatNet or the Mahanet in Maharashtra should be leveraged to establish virtual classrooms in every village to support advanced ICT techniques like AR, VR. The figure here to my right represents phase-wise digital progression of teaching learning process. There are essentially 4 stages, and all these 4 stages are important. Stage 1 talks about the introduction of ICT, and here the gap is around 18%. Stage 2 talks about the peripheral devices, and here we need to bridge a gap of 25%. Stage 3 talks about the use of ICT both in an online and offline mode, and here the gap which needs to be bridged is 19%. And at last, the last stage talks about the advanced use of ICT, and the gap here is the highest, which is around 32%. We need to make use of SAMO model as well as the Bloom's digital taxonomy to enable our competencies to grow so that together, after achieving all the 4 stages, we reach digitized knowledge-based society. Evolution to this digitized knowledge-based society is enabling India to also meet sustainable development goals in education for the year 2030, wherein education enriched education will universally be available to all. Now the pace of technology adoption, as I said, which got accelerated by COVID-19 has to be sustained. Educators need to be constantly upgrade skill set to stay relevant. New avenues for employment that is resulting in better prospects. I feel achieving digital maturity in education will enable to withstand future adversities and emerge stronger in global arena. Thank you very much. That's all from my side. Thanks for listening patiently.